Good morning, I'm Dilip, editor of Education World.
Good morning, I'm Summiya Yasmeen, managing editor.
The summer May issue of Education World is the second part of our higher education rankings.
Yes.
Institutional rankings.
Yes, in the April issue, part 1 of our Education World India Higher Education Rankings, we rated and ranked India's top 500 arts, science and commerce colleges, as well as top 100 private engineering institutions. In part 2,
we've ranked universities, whereas earlier it was undergraduate colleges.
Yes.
Now it's universities.
Yes.
And we've divided them into government,
very careful
private
categories, two broad categories of private and government, and within them, we've categorized them according to the subject specializations.
Yes, like multidisciplinary, engineering and technology, liberal arts and humanities, agriculture, research, medical and health sciences universities, social sciences university, mathematics, physical sciences, all women universities. Moreover, we've also ranked the top 100 private B schools because leaving out the IIMs for reasons which you've explained in this issue.
As well as top 10 undergrad institutes for top 10 courses.
Yes, now that's very important because these are the most popular courses, undergrad courses, which school leavers opt for usually, and which are the best, the top ranked universities which provide these courses.
Yes.
I don't think this has ever been done before by any publication.
Yes, we'll tell you more about our cover story a bit later, Dilip.
Yes.
But let's first go through, because this is an information and content rich edition, the May edition, so we'd like to tell you more about it.
Yes.
Of course, in our editorial sections, we've got some two very interesting and insightful editorials. The first one is on the elections.
Yes.
And Dilip rightly says that why in India we are one of the world's largest democracies, why we should be proud of, why we should be proud of our electoral system and the way governments change every 5 years.
Yes, and that's one reason why we want everybody, we urge everybody in the country who's eligible to vote, whereas in fact we only have about 60%, that's 2/3 of the electorate, the eligible electorate that votes. So in a way, the government that we will elect on June 4th, is not government by all the people, for all the people.
Yeah.
So, but that's not the fault of the political parties, that's the fault of the electorate. And perhaps it's rooted in education. And we urge, at least next time around, everybody who is eligible to vote should vote.
Yes. And in our second edit, Dilip, very pertinently, you've highlighted the root cause of the growing unemployment, which is, there's a deep connection between unemployment and the substandard education that's provided in our education institutions and the neglect of skilling.
Yes, in particular. And this is a very important election issue. And it's likely to emerge as a very important issue which shapes the outcome of this election, which you will note on June 4th.
In our education news section, as usual, roundup from the major states. In Delhi, we report on some overdue reforms which are happening at CBSE. CBSE examinations now are going to move from testing rote learning to having competency-based questions. So that's a big reform which is going to happen in the CBSE class 10 and 12 board examinations. So we're looking forward to that happening. The NEP 2020 has recommended that.
Yes. And the most important, CBS is going to change its assessment.
Yes.
Therefore, it will work backwards. Then teachers will have to change their pedagogy.
Yes, indeed. Which is the harder part.
Yes.
And in Maharashtra, we've got a news report filed on this, amendment of an RTE rule. This court case being filed. So what Maharashtra government, like most other governments in India, including Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka, have amended the rules of the RTE Act to say that if you have a government school within 1 kilometer of where you're living, you should apply to the government school. You won't be
That's
eligible
under
for
section 12(1)(c).
You won't be eligible for admission under section 12(1)(c) in a private school.
Yeah, because I think we perhaps need to explain that the RT Act 2009 for the first time made it mandatory for private schools to reserve 25% of the primary school quota for poor neighborhood children. In
Yes.
effect, backdoor nationalization.
Yes.
But after that, there's been backsliding on this issue, not only within private schools, but also within government.
Yes.
Very
It's a
interesting.
very interesting report. Please read it. And in Karnataka, we've got a thought-provoking education news titled Mess and Messier, where the Karnataka state government is moving from one mess to the another. Now, the latest controversy is over the common entrance test, which decides admission into professional colleges, engineering colleges.
Yes.
And here, the CET test had 50 out of syllabus questions. So there's been a big furore about that, and students and parents have protested, and now the government says they're not going to assess the answers to these 50 out of syllabus subjects. A big mess there. And in West Bengal, the never-ending saga of the TET recruitment scam continues.
Yes. Shockingly, that 25,000 people who had been selected
Yes.
to serve as school teachers.
Their appointment has been declared null and void by no less
declared
by the Calcutta High Court,
but has been stayed by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So,
interestingly, there's another very interesting news also from Tamil Nadu, which is on a Madras High Court directive about banning of corporal punishment in schools
for children. Yes.
And in education,
which has been done before, but observed more in the breach than
indeed
practice.
And education notes, again, nice roundup. We've got Uttar Pradesh, Mizoram, Jharkhand, etc. Education tidbits from these states. An education brief section, again, very interesting. What corporates are doing in education.
Yes. And also, of course, we should also point out to our readers, this is packed with advertising, which is in itself very informative, because they provide products, services that schools and parents need.
Indeed. In our expert comment section, we have, Ray Ravaglia, who was the former director of collegiate studies at Stanford University, making a very interesting point, Dilip, about enabling summer education options. There's this trend of school leavers going to summer camps, but he says how you need to choose summer camp very wisely. You don't want it to be a repetition of academics. You've already spent 10 months in school.
And he suggests that internships inside corporates and other in companies might be a better idea to get some hands-on learning.
Indeed.
Which is what's happening in America.
Young Achievers has profiles of two bright young achievers, Ayan and Shaurya, and Ayan Deshpande, one a piano expert whiz.
And the others are robot designers.
Indeed. And then we have a very special essay, Dilip, written by Dr. Geeta Kingdon this time, commemorating the achievements of her father, the legendary Dr. Jagdish Kant.
It's a short biography, recounts his unceasing and perhaps unprecedented quest for global citizenship education.
Indeed.
And how he did it, and what are the various initiatives that he undertook in City Montessori School are set out in this excellent essay.
Yes. Now we come to our cover story.
Yes, indeed. The top 300 universities in India, we have ranked in various categories like multidisciplinary, engineering and technology, medical, health and sciences, liberal arts and humanities, then social science and management, law and humanities, agriculture, and even natural life sciences. And these are all private sector. Then the same thing is repeated for government universities.
So just to tell you a little bit about how we did these rankings. So the rankings are based on field interviews done by AZ Research Partners of 2,100 knowledgeable sample respondents,
Yes.
which included higher education faculty, students, and industry representatives. Dilip, also we must tell our readers, there are a lot of media publications we do rankings of colleges, universities, etc. We are very unique in that we have carefully categorized higher education institutions to avoid apples with oranges type comparisons. So the categories Dilip said just now.
Enumerated.
So agricultural universities are only ranked inter se within their own category, which is
Yes.
agricultural universities. Ditto engineering and tech universities are ranked within their own category.
Yes.
So this specialized categorization of higher education institutions, I think, makes our ranking very unique.
Yes, I think that
Yeah.
differentiates them from
Yes.
all other rankings.
And important distinguishing feature of our higher education rankings is that universities and all higher education institutions are ranked across 10 to 14 very carefully chosen parameters of higher education excellence.
Excellence, yeah.
These include research and innovation, which is given the highest weightage of 300, competence of faculty, placements, infrastructure, faculty welfare and development, value for money, etc.
Leadership.
Yes.
Leadership.
Our higher education rankings are a rich mine of information for parents, students, faculty, and institutional management.
And builders, yes.
So we've got very careful tables. We've got the National League tables in separate categories. We've got the state tables. We've got tables by parameters.
Which are very important because there we rank all private universities, regardless of subcategory, on these 10 to 12 parameters, like which is the best private university for leadership,
Absolutely.
which is the best private university for infrastructure,
Yeah.
or teacher competence. Really very, very valuable information to a institution seeker.
Yes.
And similarly for government institutions.
Yeah.
It's not that the popular impression that we are a private higher education or education institution enterprise. We are not. We believe that yes, private enterprises must improve, private universities and schools must improve, but so must government. The gap between the two has to be narrowed, not allowed to widen. So that's why we have ranked public and private universities separately. And indeed, a rich mine of information here. And please, if you have any cynicism about the motivations of why these rankings are published, I would like you to shed them and understand the higher purpose behind publishing these rankings.
And like we said earlier, apart from the top 300 universities, there's also top 100 private B schools, where we excluded the IIMs because it doesn't make sense.
They always come first.
I mean, they always come first. And anyway, they admit only 2% of the, over 1 million students who write the CAT.
Yes.
So it doesn't make sense to include them. There again, a rich mine of information. And then we also have the top 10 popular courses and top 10 institutes offering them. So these courses include courses like, a Bachelor of Architecture, BA LLB, BE in Data Science, BE in Computer Science, Bachelor of Nursing.
Yeah, it's so useful because if I want to do computer science and I want to know which are the top 10 institutions, it's all there.
Yes, indeed.
Or likewise for medical sciences,
Correct.
right?
Yes. And then so that we recommend that you read the, make use of the rankings.
And yes, also a very important teacher to teacher page essay given by a practitioner who's a teacher, the CEO of 2 companies. She talks about it's very urgent to integrate alternative energy into K-12 education and sustainable development. That's what she's talking about, really.
Yes.
How to practice, to put the green energy practices into mainstream school curriculums. Very, very important, very timely subject.
Yes, indeed.
Then we also, before we round up, of course, we have book reviews.
Yes, interesting book reviews.
Less sung heroes of the freedom movement.
Yes.
Done by Professor Jyoti Gupta of Jadavpur University, now retired. And
the second book review is on a semi kind of autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi by his grandson,
Yes.
Rajmohan Gandhi. So there's a review about that book. And of course, our last page, as usual, we've got some very hard-hitting, thought-provoking
Yes.
postscripts. I think one of the most interesting one here, I think, is you hit the nail on the head, is about the
Too much entertainment.
Too much entertainment. I so agree with it. I mean, we've got the IPL going, and then we've got the election news going,
World Cup
and then
coming
World
up.
Cup is coming up, and we've got
Then
the Paris
Olympics after that.
and plus there are these 30 seconds to 1 minute reels which continuously play on our phones. So it is entertainment excess. You got to be very disciplined to
Yes,
focus on.
And we also talk about connection with
Yeah.
what entertainment excess did to the Roman Empire.
Indeed.
Yes,
and that shouldn't happen to our young.
yes,
We lose
indeed.
them.
Yes.
So that's Education World May issue, which concludes our Education World India Higher Education Rankings Part 2.
For the year 24-25.
We highly recommend you read and benefit from our extensively curated elite tables.
Yes.
Yes, and before we go, Dilip, as usual, what we've got in Parents World this time. Parents World, the new academic year begins next year in June. So we've done a very, I think, timely and relevant cover story for parents, how parents can enable to create conducive home study environment.
Home learning environment.
Yes.
Because nowadays, it's all about not only whether it's work or it's study. It's not all office or all school.
Yes.
You have to also do work from home.
Indeed.
So now we are suggesting in Parents World, this is Parents World, that perhaps we should create a conducive home study. All parents should create, design, ideate conducive home study
we've given
environments.
you some very valuable strategies and advice on how you should do it.
Yes.
So highly recommend again Parents World.
And how to introduce children how to induct children into listening to bad news which comes on television, newspapers.
Yes, indeed.
Then
coping with breastfeeding blues,
yes,
embracing cyclic living, and teen steps on how to navigate the important decision of making well-informed career choices. So again, Parents World 2, content rich.
Yes, the two should keep anybody busy for the next 1 month.
Indeed.
Till we bring out our next issue of Education World and Parents World. So thank you very much for your patience.